Hari Om, Bhajagovindam chanting verses 26 till the end.
कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम् आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढा ते पच्यन्ते नरकनिगूढः येयं गीता नाम सहस्रं ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रम् नेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम् सुखतः क्रियते रामा भोगः पश्चादन्तशरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेशः सत्यम् पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारम् जाप्यसमेतसमाधिविधानं पूर्ववधानं महदवधानम् गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारादचिराद्भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति डुक्कृन्करणे नहि रक्षति डुक्कृन्करणे नहि रक्षति डुक्कृन्करणे
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। The spiritual efforts were classified into two sections. One is called extroverted effort, another one is called introverted effort. Bahiranga sadhana, antaranga sadhana. External and internal effort. The efforts which are all external. External in the sense it is perceptible. Anybody can see what you are doing. But this antaranga sadhana, when we say, it is purely internal. So the spiritual practices were classified into these two sections. So in this verse 30, Shankara is covering both this internal as well as external. And in that external, he starts off from these pranayama. So when we say pranayama, what we are referring to here is your life's activities were controlled and regulated, as a result of which your energy expenditure doesn't happen in an unproductive areas. In fact, that's the meaning of the word tapas. Tapas itself means conservation of energy and expending that energy in an appropriate manner. So this pranayama helps you to conserve that energy. And your system gets sufficient energy in you. And don't take it only this with reference to your breathing. Of course, it starts from there, right? But don't take it as only that, please. That's what we have seen in the last class. So there are two aspects to pranayama. One, we take prana to be referring only to breathing control, breath control. Another one is to understand prana in the subtler aspects. This is why when we come to the scriptures, I keep telling people, always you've got to cover the basics. If you don't cover the basics, we take on to the text like Bhagavad-Gita or Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, not be able to follow what they are speaking. You should be familiar with the terminologies first. Every subject has got its own vocabulary. The subject's vocabulary is there. One is general language, general English. Another one is known as the subject vocabulary. This is peculiar only to that subject. Only those who understand the subject will understand those words in that particular manner. So here when we say prana, you got to immediately go to the pancha pranas. In fact, we'll deal with it in detail when we go there, in the next, portion which I'm planning to take up next time, because we've been seeing that with a lot of people having, the fundamentals are not, strong enough for many. Even though they have been studying, it's not that they were not studying. They've been studying and they've been, reading, listening and all that. But still I find, a lot of people not having the grip on the fundamentals of spiritual effort. So that's why next I'm planning to start that once we complete Bhajagovindam. Because anyway we are doing the Bhagavad Gita class. Once a week is enough. I thought of having it twice a week, but then I decided it would be too much to have. So I said it's better to have it as basic idea to be given to people. So those who are not having it, catch hold of this book, Vedanta Treatise. So if you are not having it, get hold of the book. I don't know how you are going to get it. Now you figure out. You can place the order online. You can do that, or you are comfortable with the Kindle. It's available in this Google Play Store and Kindle. It's available. So you can read. You can keep that book. Or else you can place an order through online. You can go to the site vedantaworld.org. You can place order through the site. So the book will be delivered to your place. So that way, keep the book first, so that when we start the text, we can go from there. Now, there he explains, and in fact, we'll be starting from that portion onwards. It comes in between, but we will start from there. It doesn't matter, because initial portions, I think most of you should be able to, read on your own. So there is no necessity for me to be explaining that, even though it's better, but it's okay. But this is critical for us to start with. Okay. So pranayama means we are referring to this pancha pranas, meaning all activities of life, all life's activities needs to be regulated, monitored, controlled, and guided. Not sporadic life activities. There is a system. That's why they say, how this has to be, how Rama is defined to be a person who has a perfect mastery. But nowhere it is stated that Rama had controlled this, that, nothing of that sort. How this, poets present it is, Rama's walk throughout Ramayana is the same pace. His walk has never been, faster or slower. Doesn't matter when he is walking. He is walking to reach to the bow. He has to take that bow and break it. Now he is going for that. That walk, as well as the walk to garland Sita, also the walk to when you are searching Sita also. Even when you are searching Sita, his walk has not changed. Right through. That's called control. See, how you walk, will show, what sort of a state. Because in different states of your mind, your walk is different. You see, that doesn't mean from today onwards, start walking with, same pace and all that. It will be like ghost walking. Right? That's not what is referred. Right? Don't try to do that. But when you are controlling these things, it will happen automatic. That's what it means. So it is an effect. It's not the effort that you put in place. Right? So it says pranayama means all the life activities were controlled. Why you got to control it, sir? Why you got to monitor is only for two reasons. One, when you do that, two things happen. Number one, your wastage gets plugged. Number two, your energy levels gets expanded. You see, because most of the time that energy spending is thrown out. You see, that is why you see these people recommend you to sit on cross-legged, and they say you keep your fingers interlocked. Why we say fingers interlocked and sit in cross-legged posture is you create a circle, and there are ways in which your energy expenditure happens. Wherever there is an end portion is where that energy flows out. So by locking that, you are creating a cycle, you are creating a circle, so that energy goes out, comes in, goes out, comes in. It doesn't go out at all, actually speaking. That is why if you see, these priests, when they do the rituals, they don't ask you to come in this normal dhoti wearing, They ask you to wear in a particular pattern, kacham they say, panchakacham and all that they say, Why? If you see that, the end portion of both the sides were put inside. If you see that, Panchakacha, when you see those priests, you can never see the end portion, because in the length of it, there is one end here, one end here. There is a end where they tie. You will not locate it. Why? All that is pushed inside. So the end portion doesn't come out at all. There are a few aspects. That is why they say close your eyes. Why? Eyes is one way, through one window through which your energy gets lost. You lose energy. Similarly, through the toes and the fingers, your energy is thrown out, as it were. So when you sit in the cross-leg posture or sit in this, fingers interlocked and close your eyes, your energy doesn't get a chance to go out. It stays in. More it stays in, more the circle gets created, more the movement happens in the same circle again and again and again and again and again, and that energy boosting happens. These are all yoga systems. This is not Vedanta. Okay, these are all yoga, yogic, system of studies. There they explain this, why you are asked to do in this posture. There's no great, philosophy there. It's just a principle, because we believe, why you can see one thing very easy. If not, you can't recognize how the energy is spent through your fingers or toes. You can't recognize it, but you can recognize that energy is spent through your eyes. You see, that's why when you travel, even if you travel in an AC car, you keep looking outside. After about half an hour, 45 minutes, you get tired. Why? Why do you get tired, sir? Nothing, you didn't do anything, but you do get tired. Why? Your energies are drained. So what do you have to do? Stop the car and have a break. You got to, pull over and have a cup of coffee and then travel again. Why this happens? Because you keep seeing. You see, the sight, when you are registering, that takes so much of energy. So energy is wasted, you see. So controlling all these things through various methods, various techniques, various, practices were evolved over a period of time based on this concept. We are studying only concept, not practices, because practices will keep varying from period to period as people keep studying, as the research keeps on happening. They evolved. But principle is this. What is this pranayama? As breathing control, they say it is better you have that regulated breath. And I have told you already what happens when you do this pranayama, and don't get into this, mystical belief space. These days I see people having, sort of mystical things are all, connected with this pranayama. Nothing of that will happen. Remember, when I say that, it will happen, but for that to happen, you have to do for that period of time. It's exactly like this atom, when it breaks, tremendous energy comes out of it. Correct. How do they break that atom? You can't go inside and break it. You can't do that. What to do, sir? There is a normal speed in which the electrons keeps moving. What they do is they make that movement of electron faster than what it is moving now. As it is moving in such a high speed. When you make that electron move much faster than that, it explodes. That's how you get that energy. But for that, it has to move in that speed, and that number of rotation has to happen. Remember, otherwise it will not work. So similarly, this techniques and all those things will give you certain effects, but those effects will not be coming to you like what we believe. Every day I do for half an hour, I will get it. No. Every day I do for, morning half an hour, evening half an hour, morning, 45 minutes, evening 45 minutes I do for a couple of years. Nothing of that will happen, please. It takes a lot of time. Enough time. Till then, your system should sustain itself without breaking. When I say system, I mean even your body should have the power to hold it. 99.9% of bodies will break. You cannot hold it. Remember that. So that is why we don't recommend these things as a practice. That's why I keep telling people, see, this yoga, pranayama, all these things have been existing in India for the last easily about 5,000, 7,000 years. Easy. Even if you take least, it is 3,000 years, it is available in India. For 3,000 years, none of those masters had ever brought it to a common man. This pranayama was brought in to the common man only in the last 50 years. Before 50 years, at least in United States they can say, in Europe they can say. Why, sir? Because it wasn't existing there. Correct. In India, it was existing for the last 4,000 years. For the last at least 3,000 years it was existing in this country. But still, this was never brought as a mainstream spiritual advice, as a practice. You mean to say people were not having stress in the past 3,000 years? Only in the last 50 years we are having stress? In the last 3,000 years, nobody was having, BP, mental problems and all these things? No, it was there. They had a different set of problem. Today we are having a different set of problem. That's all. Now, how is it that suddenly in the last 50 years this has become such a big practice? Just think. Why? At least I don't care about why it came in. My question is why it was not brought in. To say that only these people who brought into the common man were all charitable and all those masters who knew about it for the last 3,000 years were uncharitable. They had a hidden agenda. They didn't want to tell the public. Only we are going to be telling the public. They were keeping this as a secret. Now, I say you come to your independent conclusions. I don't care. Whatever conclusion you come to, I am not interested in that. But one thing is for sure. What is it, sir? These things became available, was brought into a layman, to a common man, only in the last 50 years. Not even last 50 years. I say is last about 30 years only, actually speaking. Because even when I was in school days, even though I have met so many people, I don't know how many people you had met. I had met from various ashrams and various, spiritual inclined people, but none of them had given me this as an advice. They had told, various other things, but none of them had told me this. But in the last about, 30 years or so, we see this has become such a big, quote unquote business. In fact, beware, because Shankara is referring to both in this verse. There are two things which are popular today in the world in the name of spiritual. Yoga, this pranayama, another one is meditation. Both Shankara is referring here in this verse. And it's not easy for you to recognize. He just mentions this in passing. This Bhaja Govindam has got 31 verses. Right? How many things he has told, how many things he had repeated. But this he just gives as a reference and moves on. He doesn't give, accent. He doesn't insist on that. He just referred. So it's not that they didn't know these things, but they didn't want to bring it to the common man. Why they did not bring, I'm not going to give an answer. You find your own answers. But one thing is for sure. For over 3,000 years, no master, anyone who was born in any part of this country, we had Ramakrishna Paramahamsa to Ramana Maharishi to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Namdev to Jnaneshwar to Ramanujam to Madhvacharya to Sai Baba to this any number of people who have been in an authority. I did not find a single authority person who spoke, who gave this as a teaching. Secretly, they would have told to one or two fellows. I don't know about that. See, but in none of their teachings, it was not given. Suddenly, in the last 30 years, it becomes such a big, thing to practice. I say, I don't know who is correct. Is Chaitanya correct? Ramana correct? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa correct? Or these people correct? I don't know. You people take a call on that. But pranayama is not something which is. Now in Vedanta, pranayama means it's not only breath. It means all the activities, physiological activities of life needs to be controlled. One. Then he comes to pratyahara. Next discipline is pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal of the mind. You bring the mind back. Right now, the mind is running automatically towards the world. You open your eyes in the morning, first thought is moving out. What's happening around? The thought with reference to the world is automatic. It is moving in the direction. To take a turn and start moving in another direction, whatever be the direction is. To take a U-turn, that's all. That U-turn is what is referred as pratyahara. You have been driving in a particular direction. Suddenly you get a doubt. Are we going in the right direction, sir? Because there is no signboard. Right? In an express highway, there's no signboard, nothing. You just have to drive. Like, when I went first time in this, what is it? Nandi Hill. Nandi Hills. That, what is that road here? I'm forgetting the road also now in Bangalore. It's Nandi corridor, they have these roads you see here. They told me, you get in, you can, it's an express, beautifully laid down and all that. I said, wow, fantastic, let's go for a drive. Let's go in that speed. You can go in a good speed and check, how that vehicle is performing and all that. So I'm not going to tell you in which speed I went and all. So I may put a case on me. It is there, nice road. Correct, nice road. You go there, and I entered. I was driving for about 5 minutes. There is no signboard. Now, which direction I have to go now? And suddenly there is a road going down. Now, should I go down or should I go straight up? No clue we have. You see, suddenly you get a doubt like that, when you are driving in a new path. If you have already driven there, you know the roads. When you have not driven on the road, then you will not know. Suddenly you get a doubt. What you do then? You stop the car. And then suddenly you realize, we saw one dhaba. Or you saw one petrol bunk. Let's go to the petrol bunk and check in which direction we are going. Take a U-turn and come and get there. Now that stopping and checking, that stage is known as pratyahara. You stop your direction. You check your direction. And your direction had been always extroverted. Now, instead of thinking about the world, you start thinking about God. Instead of extroversion, you move introverted. That's the U-turn. That's the withdrawal of the mind. That withdrawn state of the mind is called as pratyahara. Or in Vedanta, in another word we have for this in Vedanta is sannyasa, renunciation. A state of renunciation. Mind is no longer involved in the affairs of the world. That's the state, pratyahara. Then comes vicharam. After your mind is collected and withdrawn within, then you engage your reasoning, your analysis into what is real and what is unreal. Then you start pursuing knowledge. Now, that's what is referred here as nitya, anitya, viveka, vicharam. The distinction between eternal and ephemeral. What is real and what is unreal. Now, this inquiry, when you start doing, the problem is most of us start this inquiry without pratyahara. Or there are people who have come up to pratyahara and assume that itself is the end of spiritual effort. Now I am no longer thinking about other things. Therefore, what, sir? I have already achieved. See, no. You have a long way to go. You have only taken a U-turn. That's all. Now, U-turn you take doesn't mean that you have arrived. You're moving in the wrong direction. You take a U-turn. Instead of taking a deviation near Krishnagiri and moving towards Chennai, you are moving towards the Dharmaburi. Suddenly you realize after 1.5 hours, you are in the wrong direction. When you take a U-turn, doesn't mean you are already in Chennai, please. No. You have to take a U-turn, come back to Krishnagiri, and then take a right, go in. Then you have to cover, Ambu, Vellore, this one, that one. There's a long way to go. But if you miss the route, if you miss that left, which is to be taken from this highway in Krishnagiri, you keep traveling, you lose the whole thing. And I put a signboard, which a very small signboard is there. Those who travel there, even now it is there. I don't know, post-COVID, what they have done. But even the last year, when I traveled there, even now there's a small board. To Chennai is there. But, in a highway, when you go in that speed, average speed is 80. 80 you go, it looks, you are driving slow in that, highway. Now, suddenly you have a small, board in the left corner. I never understood that. I never understood why in India we keep the signboards in the left. We driver is sitting here. Now his eyes will go here or his eyes will go there. If you put it here, it's visible for him. Right? He doesn't have to take his eye off from the road. Particularly when you have double road. They had these practices when we started having roads in India. At that time it's only single road. So in the middle of the road they can't put a signboard. Therefore they put it in the left. It's only one lane. This side, one lane, that side. Now you have 3 lanes. The fellow is in the 3rd lane, where he will see that on the left there. Very strange we are. Anyway, they must be. I'm just saying. Doesn't mean I have an understanding, but I really wondered many times. When I drive, don't get it actually. You take a U-turn, that doesn't mean you have arrived, please. Pratyahara is just a state. Now, after that, you have to gain knowledge. Either without preparation, people gain knowledge, or they start practicing these things and they believe that itself is spiritual. No. It's only preparation, please. This pranayama, pratyahara is only preparation. You have passed your entrance exam and you have got your admission into IIM. That's all. You crossed your, in the entrance exam, and you have completed your group discussion, and you have passed in the interview also. Now you have got your admission into IIM. That doesn't mean you are a graduate. You have to study there for another 2 years. Then only if you pass, you will get that degree. Right. Now straight away you can't say, I am also IIM. No. You are not, you have not yet completed, please. There's a long way to go. Similarly, this pratyahara, after that you have to go into this pursuit of knowledge. What is this knowledge, sir? Knowledge is not this borrowed knowledge. Now immediately we think knowledge means we have completed Bhajagovindam now. I know Bhajagovindam. This is not knowledge, please. Knowledge is defining here. Knowledge as what? The path of knowledge means what, sir? Is that inquiry into what is real and what is unreal. Meaning, in this inquiry, what should be the effect, sir? The effect of knowing this is real, this is unreal. That means this is higher, this is lower. This is right, this is wrong. The moment you have the distinction between these two things, that means you should have the following. Next step should happen automatic. What is it, sir? Accept, assimilate, follow the right, good, higher, real, etc. and discard, reject, stay away from, drop the unreal. You can't say, I understand that this is real, I understand this is unreal, but I am still pursuing the unreal. If the fellow says, that means he has not understood. That's what is happening to most of us. You see, we say, now which is more real? When Ramakrishna Paramahansa was sitting, one businessman came and he prostrated to Ramakrishna. And that man got up. Immediately, Ramakrishna Paramahansa prostrated to him. And that fellow got really perturbed. Imagine, Ramakrishna, if he falls at your feet, he said, sir, please, why did you do that? Ramakrishna asked, why did you do that? He said, what? Why did you prostrate to me? What did I prostrate? You are a great man. Why I am great? Yeah, you are great. Why? You don't touch money. Means I have renounced money, accepted Kali, correct? Correct. Yes. That is why I am prostrating to you. He said, if that is the reason, then you are a greater renunciate. You are a greater sannyasi than me. Why? Because you have renounced Kali and accepted money. Now, renunciation should be based on what? The quality of renunciation is based on the quality of what I reject, isn't it? I give that up. That's why when I saw that first time, the monk who sold his Ferrari asked me, oh, have you read the book? I said, title itself is wrong. How can you read that book? The monk will not be selling Ferrari. Monk should be giving up a Ferrari. If a monk has given up the Ferrari, then he is a monk. How he is a salesman. You see, he is a good salesman. No. Renunciation. Who is greater? Now all of us agree. Theoretically, what? Sir, God is great. Don't you say that? God is great. Yes. But world is. Now think carefully. Isn't it the world for all of us slightly more real than God? That's why all of us go into this belief. Nowadays we have this great philosophy. What is it, sir? God is also real, world is also real. God is also there, world is also there. What happens? Convenience. Whenever I have a problem with the world, I will run towards God. When I have problem with God, I will run towards world. Either case, I am safe. This is our philosophy. You see, argument of convenience. You see, Shankara says, no. That's not the way you can live life, man. Either you take this or that. That is why today, very cunningly, we have arrived at one great philosophy. There is no such thing called right and wrong in life. You see that? Lot of people say that, There's no such thing. It's all gray only, man. I say, who told you? Who told you that what all the aspects of life you have ever considered to say, it is all gray? It's all gray only. See, just because a fellow is smoking doesn't mean he is bad. Then I will ask you the same question. Then, I have to deteriorate myself and give you grosser examples. We give simple examples. That's what, one day class, when I was explaining. A fellow, hey, just because as though you are speaking as though a person who is smoking is a bad fellow. I say, please remember, I'm giving you a simple example for you to understand an idea. Right? Now, if I give grosser examples, you can't take. You see? Beware. Don't force me to. The fellow didn't listen to me. Then I threw a bombshell. The fellow had a heart attack. You all watch a movie? He said, yes. Family? Yes. Don't you know it's all acting? Yes. I say, why don't you have family sit together? You, your parents, your daughter, your son, yourself, have a family evening. Watch a porn movie. Why don't you do that? Why? It's acting only, no. The actor and actress there, they're acting only, no. Why don't you watch? Why you talk so bad? I said, see now, I gave you a simple example of cigarette, right? Now, there you say what? There's no such thing as right and wrong. Now suddenly you go to that extreme what? So today for all of us, wrong means it has to be so gross. See, that's why earlier, at least about my grandfather I have heard, because when he passed away, in the villages, they were crying and talking. They came and, spoke to me because I keep visiting them, so they knew me. So when my grandfather passed away, they were all referring to my grandfather as, we have never heard, Satyavrata fellow. This man is Satyavan. Means he always speaks the truth. Right? Now we don't refer to that actually. Nowadays we refer to as what? He never lies. Satyavan, see, both are same, isn't it? He speaks the truth. He never lies. See, implication is same. Implication is same. That's why in our rituals, have you seen this? In the marriage, as soon as the wedding is over, you will never find the priest will call the senior most from the audience to come first and bless the couple, newly wedded. They don't ask, younger ones. They always, call the senior most. Why they do it? Because you should know how to bless. You see, You should know how to bless a person. Blessing should be given how, sir? Not in the negative terminology. Let you not have any disease is also blessing. Have a healthy body is also blessing. It's same thing. Effect is same, but implication is not same. Why? Because first thing you say is what? Disease, separation. Let both of you not separate. You have already planted the idea of separation there. No. Let you two be together. You see, blessing needs maturity. Why? That's why they call the eldest. Nowadays, even the eldest also don't know how to bless. Now we don't know whom to call. It's a tradition. So how it was like that. Now what is it, sir? Deteriorated. We see that deterioration happening. Beware of it. Deterioration is going on. Now, how are we going to arrest it is a big question, you see. But you must be able to see where the trend is moving. Why, sir? All this is because of that fundamental is broken. What is the fundamental? There is no such thing called right and wrong. No. There is a clear demarcation between right and wrong. Full stop. There is no ambiguity at all. There is real, there is unreal. There is higher, there is lower. You must have the capacity to reject the lower and embrace the higher. This is what the problem is. For you to do that, first requirement is what? You should understand this is lower, this is higher. Isn't it? When you don't even understand this is lower, this is higher, then how will you drop the lower, go for the higher? You'll never do it. And then what we'll do, sir? In the name of Vedanta, we just study few books, few literatures. We study here, there, this book, that book you read and keep repeating that. You live your life with this borrowed knowledge. Now, what is the borrowed knowledge, sir? It's a very dangerous one. It is better to live life with ignorance than to live life borrowed, with borrowed knowledge. Borrowed knowledge means the knowledge is not yours. You're just taken from the scriptures. It's holding. What that fellow will do is that he will conveniently switch from one extreme to other extreme. He would look so spiritual one moment. Next moment, he will stoop down to grossest. The best example we have is Yudhishthira. You see, on one hand, he speaks dharma, righteousness, this, that, and all to one extreme. Very conveniently, he can pawn his own wife. See, Arjuna will never do that. Bhima will never do that. You see, he'll take. But Yudhishthira can do both. Conveniently, he can do this and that. That's called borrowed knowledge. You live life. All that knowledge that he had was not digested by him. It was borrowed. Borrowed from the scriptures. Borrowed from the textbooks and teachers. You borrow that. Nothing wrong in borrowing, please. But then you have to make it your own inner. How do you do that, sir? Study this. Says Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichar. This study, reflection on what is real and what is unreal. Do this, man. This Nitya, Anitya. In fact, what you are supposed to do here is, you are supposed to pursue the real. Why you are not pursuing the real? No. Why there is no motivation to pursue the real today is because you are already seeing the real, isn't it? What is real to you? The world is real, no. You are pursuing that. The car is real. This wife is real. Husband is real. The family is real. My business is real. All this is real to you and you are pursuing it. So you are already pursuing the real for you. Now, how will you drop this and pursue another real? You can't do that. Now, between world and God, which is more real? World is far more real to you than God. So when he says Nitya Anitya Viveka Vicharam, is saying probe into the nature of not the world, your world. Remember, these people say world is problem. World is not a problem. Your world is the problem. Your world is real to you. My car is more real than why car? I've seen this myself. You know, a few years back in Gujarat, they had this earthquake. Remember Bhuj or I think Bhuj. They had this earthquake, huge disaster. We are reading that in the paper. In the morning, we are having a conversation. My uncle, who was there at home at that time, as we are reading, he got his coffee. He's shouting, as it were, to my aunt, hey, put little more sugar. There's no sugar in the coffee. For him, he's seeing the news, he's reading the news, he's talking about, thousands of people were rendered homeless like this. Those who have been, so comfortably settled in their life, just like that, they lost everything. That's not an impact at all for him. For him, which is real now? Little less sugar in his coffee is far more real to him than that 60,000 people lost their homes. Even if that fellow wants to claim insurance, he should be able to go and refer the name, no? Paper he should have, right? He should be able to go and prove, I am the owner of the house. Where is it? It's all gone in that home. Now, how is he going to even at least claim? Even if he claims, he gets that money, where he will go and buy the land again, build that house. Till then, where he is going to live? No clothes, no certificates, nothing. Like what's happened in Lebanon, few days back. In a split second. Oh, what a tragedy. Overnight. It's not even overnight, in a second actually. Not full night also, if you had some time is there for you to run away. Before you register, it's gone. What is he going to do about it? Which is real to you? That's a news. Imagine one of your friend were to be working in Lebanon at that time. Imagine one of your family member were to be there in Lebanon at that time. What happens? You see the impact. Now, what Shankara is saying is, find out which is real to you now. This impact is different, this news is different, this news is different. I was supposed to go, but I did not go there. That fellow says, now you feel that news as what? Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. Do that inquiry. And this knowledge, this pursuit will consolidate your personality, and you establish yourself in the conviction and the courage to drop the unreal. Even if you recognize it is unreal, it is still attractive. You see it as unreal, but still you pursue it. That's the problem. You must have the courage to see that is unreal and leave that and move in the pursuit of the real. That is the stage. That is the second step. The third step he is giving here in the pursuit, in the path. Then he gives the fourth discipline, final discipline of Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. Practice of chanting and silencing the mind. Referring to the practice of japa. Practicing this chanting of a mantra and silencing. Chanting means, I told you, initially the mind is having so many thoughts, meaning positive, negative. Thoughts with reference to the world, thought with reference to God. Thoughts, unreal, real, all put together, positive, negative, all that is mixed. That's the first stage. Then with the discipline, pranayama, life's activities, those disciplines and pratyahara and all that, what did you do, sir? You managed your conduct, pranayama. In pratyahara, what did you do? You replaced all that negative with positive. Then in this Viveka Vicharam, in that positive, you start analyzing which is higher, which is lower. Now, it's not the thinking in terms of negative versus positive. No. In that positive, there is higher and lower. Higher and lower, higher and lower, higher and lower. So, you go on refining it. En bloc, your mind is running in the higher direction. Keep doing that. Over a period of time, your mind becomes qualified and prepared for the pursuit of what is the final one. What is the final destination? If I keep on doing that, where will it lead, man, sir? That thought comes into picture. That is the stage where you take up this japa practice, which what you do there is you take that mantra and chant. Chant a particular mantra, meaning your thoughts were not moving anything other than that one mantra. No other thought. You cannot get any negative thought. Not possible. Why? That is already gone long time back. Not now. You have dropped it ages back. Negative. Now you are having only positive thoughts. Now with that positive thought, what is happening, sir? All positive feelings only you are having. There you pick up one and choose to focus. So what is it? Not many positive also you have. You have reduced that many positive to few positive. 2, 3 allowed. That's all. Nothing more. What are the things allowed here, sir? One is allowed. What is it? Your interest to desire to realize. 1. 2. Desire to study the scriptures. Allowed. 3. What's allowed here, sir? To serve your guru. 3. Only these 3 thoughts were allowed at this stage. He will not get any other thought. Allowed in the sense, it's not that for him, it's he doesn't get anything more than that. Anything he does, it is revolving only around these three things. Every thought is only either A, B, C. When you reach that condition where you are getting only those three thoughts, you are not getting any other thought. No other thought comes to your mind. You reach that sort of a position. Then you take up a particular mantra. Mantra means a sound symbol. That's all. It's just a sound you take. There's no, rule as such. This should be the sound, that should be the sound. There's no such thing. Any sound you can take, right? But generally we recommend people taking the sound which is tested already, which is being used by people already, which has worked for people. You can say, you can even take Coca-Cola. Nothing wrong in that, right? Or if you say Pepsi also you can take. I don't mind, right? In terms of principle, it will work theoretically, but practically there are various difficulties can come in, because the thought can have the potential to trigger the associated thoughts. You see, that's the problem. Because the moment you get the thought, instantly it triggers one more. It triggers one more. Therefore, you have to choose a particular mantra which is in alignment with the last three thoughts. It cannot trigger any other thought. It cannot be triggering fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and all that. No, it should be revolving around only in the three. For that, you need to take a particular mantra. There they have various mantras, various sound, symbols have been provided by the Shastras. These people have. You got to pick up, whichever is suitable for a person. Because in mantra also they have three types of mantras. Like we have gender, like three genders we have, masculine, feminine, neuter. Like that, even mantras have got masculine, feminine, neuter. In the Silpa Shastra, they say even the stone has got three. They recognize a stone. You take a stone and give it to him. That fellow will say whether it is a masculine stone, feminine stone, or neuter gender stone. They have all three. These people. So even mantra were classified under these three. So you got to choose that mantra which is in alignment with your personality. Right? So you can't be choosing on your own. Then we get into confusion. Then we get into too much of specialization gets into. Now we can't go into so much of specialization, sir. Then what to do, sir? They have common mantras. Sri Ramajayam, Ramanama is the safe mantra for everyone. Even a dumb fellow can say. Therefore they said, of all the things, Ramanama is the sound. Rama is the best. Then there are people who say Om is also been taken by somebody. Depending upon your nature, you can pick up either that's mantra Om, or you can take this mantra, or you can take a particular deity mantra, or you can take this mantra, you can take that mantra, you can take whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But choose a particular mantra, which is one thought. Take a single thought. No other thought. Keep chanting that. Now comes the practice. In that japa, what you are doing is you are just repeating that mantra. Of course, there is a way of chanting that mantra. There is a disciplines there. All that is included here, right? There is a long process in that. Now, I'm not going into all the process, but we are just touching the principle here. That's all. I'm not getting into the practice dimension of it. This you have to do, he says. What you have to do? Pick up a particular sound symbol, keep chanting. And it helps you immensely. Right. Because there is a fellow who went to a Swami, you know, asked him, I have a problem. He said, he is a mantra type fellow, that Swami. You know, he gives mantras to people. Whoever comes, you know, like anybody comes to me, I will say, what, study Vedanta. That's all. I don't say anything else. Similarly, this man, you know, whoever comes, he will give a mantra. So this man went and said, you know, I have this, you know, I have a problem. He said, okay. Well, problem means your husband or wife. That's all. The problem. How do you solve the problem? He said, this mantra I have given you. But remember, this mantra should not be told to anybody. Then it will not work. Mantra is a secret. Remember this. This guy said, okay. So he went home. After the session, he went home. His wife, you know, prepared dinner. As they are having the dinner, the wife asked, what did this man say? He went and met him. No, what did he say? He said, he has given me a mantra. Said, what mantra? I said, no, I can't tell that, honey, but it's a mantra. You know. And she said, what? You can't tell me also? He said, yeah, but it's a mantra. No, how can I say that? Because he told me I should not say that to anybody. It's a secret. It's only for me. That's it. It cannot be shared with anybody. It's a secret. And his wife, you know, the moment you are not sharing something with wife, she'll get more curious. You know, if you want to kindle their curiosity, all that you have to do is that. Tell them something and leave it. You know, that's the nature of all women. Tell them a little and then leave it. I can't keep quiet. You know, whole night they will be dreaming that. Man is not like that. He'll forget. After 2 minutes, you ask him what, you will not remember. Women is not like that. This lady is, you know, she is very particular. He said, what? Finally, she packed her bags and she brought her, you know, suitcase outside. Now decide, mantra or me. And said, see, that Swamiji has taken vow from me, but you took vow from when we got married. You will share everything with me. Now you decide, me or that. She said, what am I to do now? I cannot. You know, you are forcing me into doing something which is not correct. We should not do that. And she stormed out of the house. And the guy turned aside and said, it works. The mantra works. As all mantras. There is nothing actually. That fellow didn't say anything. He just, you know, that's all mantra. There is no meaning, remember. You know, don't try for, you know, meaning. Mantra should have some, if it is there, well and good. But the essential dimension of a sound symbol is not a particular meaning or anything, please. All that is over already. Where? In Nitya Anitya only, all that has been completed. You don't study all the things here. Here, you just take that thought and stay in that thought. So what is happening now, sir? All other thoughts were dropped, all negative dropped. And positives also got amalgamated into that few. Only traces of it. Now you are holding only one thought. You see the convergence. You know, the whole thing gets converged into that one thought now. Now, what is he doing, sir? Now you have to go to Bhagavad Gita for this. Now Krishna, you know, Shankara doesn't explain. What happens after that, he doesn't explain. He says, do that. That's all he says. How this leads to next goes there. But Shankara gives a very important instruction in between. You see, fascinating advice. That's why we say, you know, this is a final advice of Shankara. You know, when I say that, blessings of Shankara and final advice of Shankara, that's what it is. Fantastic advice of his. Urvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. He says, how do you do that, sir? Now you have done all that you are supposed to do. You have come to that point where you are just chanting this mantra. You are standing in the threshold of jumping into realization. Right? From the terrestrial life, you are going to jump over to the transcendental reality. that transference is going to happen. That seed is breaking and coming out and becomes a plant. It's a fascinating situation, very difficult to manage. Here he says, do it with care. Do these things with avadhanam, means alertness, commitment, with care. Do it with care. Carefully do it. Which one? Do that in a careful manner. Step by step you go. Step by step you go. You go like this. Carefully you do, man. What? The chanting. Carefully keep chanting, silencing, chanting, silencing, chanting, silencing. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Do that with care, with alertness, with commitment. And then he says, do it with great care. See, whenever these people repeat that advice, there is a twist. They keep an important message there. The subtle message here is, don't get into the result orientation. Because, you see, that final one, it's exactly like the previous night of your exam results. How do you sleep? Right? So much of tension, Why? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I didn't have a problem because I knew my result. When I wrote my exams, I didn't have any problem. I had a fantastic sleep. Because when I writing the exam itself, I knew the answer. What is going to be the result? But those who have studied, those who have worked so hard, those who have struggled, it is very difficult for that person to relax after putting in tremendous effort. You see, when you have not slogged for it, there is nothing. It's like, a couple who is aspiring for a child for years together, right? And finally they are given for a test and they are just waiting. They said, just wait for half an hour. It will take half an hour for us to do the test and give you. They'll say, it'll take 2 hours, 3 hours. They say, no, we can't wait 2 hours. Can you make it faster? I wanted to do that 2 hours when they were sitting in the lobby of the diagnostic center. They're waiting for the results to come out. How they will be sitting there? They'll say, anyway, 2 hours we have. Can we just go and have a cup of coffee and come? He says, oh, no. By mistake, if it comes 15 minutes early, we should be there. You see. And when they come, the result is come and they just put it in the envelope and pass that envelope for you to see. When they open that envelope and see that, how they will be seeing? In a relaxed state, or what is that? That is the condition for this fellow. You've got to imagine that the tapas that fellow has done from the beginning, from the preparation, work, it's a toil. And he is anchoring for that experience of realization, that bliss of realization. And he is just standing in the threshold. Invariably, what will happen at that stage, sir? The fellow will say, I want to get it quickly, man. That's why, Chimayananda, there's a book by Chimayananda called Hasten Slowly. I say title is outstanding title. The title itself is enough. You can buy the book and keep it. Don't read the book. Keep reading the title. Itself is, amazing title. There are a few books, I've cherished the title of the book is this. Hasten slowly. Should rush slowly. How can you run slowly? It's like sprinting slowly. Now, sir, how can you sprint slowly? Now, that's what he's saying here. What does it say? No result orientation. Drop that result orientation. Then you get, then whatever has to happen, happens. You don't worry about it. And then what, sir? Then what comes in the next verse? So what is to be done, sir? All this, this study of this Bhajagovindam, Vishnu Sahasranama, Bhagavad Gita, this one, that one, all the disciplines, and then comes to this final, understanding of pranayama, pratyahara, viveka, vicharam, and all those things you have done, and you have done this japa also, and you are doing the japa now. When you are doing the japa, final, you just slide into realization. At that stage, don't fall for the temptation of result orientation. It's a final block. To give you the training for this final block is why Krishna says in the beginning of Karma Yoga, what is Karma Yoga, sir? Do your duty, don't worry about the result. See, because in a circle always is what, sir? Final step is the first step, isn't it? Where you have started is where you have to end. Now, where you have started your spiritual effort, Karma Yoga, you started. In Karma Yoga, what did you do, sir? You do your karma, don't worry about the result. Don't be result oriented. See, that same advice which was given to that Karma Yoga student, the student who is practicing Karma Yoga, is the same advice given to the fellows doing this japa. But remember, there is a world of difference between this fellow and that fellow. But the advice is same. This advice is amazing advice here. It is, Purva Vadhanam, Mahadavadhanam. Relax. Next what? People always ask, okay, next what is to be studied? Next what is to be studied? Now tell me what else I have to do. I myself have nothing to do. You're asking me what else I have to do. That's what Swamiji would say. When I joined the academy, this is what he told me. I went, I was so fired. So I went to him, first day. I caught him in the jogging track, caught him. Swamiji, I've joined. I said, yeah, welcome. I said, good. Said, now what should I do? He said, I said, they gave you room, no? He said, yeah, yes, Swamiji. Where's the room? There's a bed there, no? He said, mattress la irka? I said, yes, Swamiji. Somebody is cooking. You have a bed. On time, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Eat. Bed is there. Sleep. That's all. All that you have to do is what? Eat and sleep. Yeah. Now, don't think, that's what you are all supposed to do. See? I got totally confused. I thought he will say, okay, now that you have come, this is a book you have to study, study like this, study like that, do this, do that. He will give me, 101 instructions, I thought. Is that? First question he asked, they gave you room? No, is that? I didn't understand why he is asking. I am asking something, he is asking something else, I thought. No, man. Relax. Kurvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. Slowly grow. Don't get into the result orientation. Beautiful advice of Shankara. Pranayamam, Pratyaharam, Nitya, Anitya Viveka Vicharam. Chapya Sameda Samadhi Vidhanam, Purvavadhanam, Mahadavadhanam. Let's see you next class. Thank you.